Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering Joy Reid getting fired. But it's not just Joy Reid getting fired. They also just announced they're laying off 3 other major lefty show hosts. Just recently, they replaced the president of MSNBC, and they also announced they were spinning the company off with a few of their other cable channels into a new company called SpinCo, which, when we talk about doing business things, we will take a company like SpinCo, which isn't the real name, but it's, a reference to the company that we're spinning off. But that is not something that people actually discuss or say publicly outside of a working environment. It's like when you go to business school and they talk about making widgets. Widgets is just a generic project. No one's sitting there actually making widgets. It's just for conversation's sake. This is starting to look more and more to me like there's something else going on. It's not what the company says it is, because they are really remaking the network. They are purging out the contributors from MSNBC, who aren't just low in the ratings, but these are the people that are really into the pushing the race hatred issues. It's almost like they're purging the network and they're going to keep their options open, and maybe they don't even spin the company off at all if they're able to get rid of their worst troublemakers. Because to spin the company off, you'd have to rebrand MSNBC to something that doesn't say MSNBC. You'd have to have no NBC in it. And they clearly don't have a new name yet. And to create a new name and then to market that new name, to have that kind of exposure that they need to have a brand going, none of that's trivial. It's actually quite a big deal and very expensive. And it may not even work as well. But for all these anchors from MSNBC getting fired, Joy Reid deserves it the most. She's the one that's come off with the most hate in her heart. Coming from the New York Post, MSNBC cancels Joy Reid's Lefty show as network makes major shakeup. And also from the New York Post, MSNBC chief tells blindsided staffers of canceled Joy Reid show that they'll be laid off. But they can apply for other jobs, so it's not like they're banned from the network. Joy Reid is definitely leaving the network. The president put that in her memo saying, okay, yeah, she's not with us. And here's our new lineup, by the way, because they had to replace her show. And this just came out from the New York Post. MSNBC drama intensifies as network kills 3 more shows hosted by 3 more lefty anchors in wake of Joy Reid's ouster. Joy Reid, one of MSNBC's most high-profile liberal commentators, is leaving the network in a major programming shakeup. Her departure from the network signals a shift in strategy for MSNBC as they reassess their approach to political coverage. Though I'm telling you this has to do with their overall business model. It will be fascinating to see after they get rid of all the troublemakers, will they still spin the company off? Because I'm starting to think they're not going to do that. Until you hear that they made a clear break from NBC, the parent company NBC Universal, you have to be skeptical, because even if they are going to come up with a new name for SpinCo, because they're not going to call their cable channel SpinCo, even if they come up with a new name, it's going to take at least 6 to 9 months to build brand awareness of any sort, no matter what they spend. So even if they want to spend millions and millions of dollars trying to promote a new name, there's a timeline to do that with. You can't just do it like tomorrow. For years, Joy Reid was one of the fiercest critics of Donald Trump and his supporters, often using her show to attack conservatives. However, her own past statements and actions have now come under scrutiny, leading to credibility concerns. Because in the mid-2000s, Reid ran a political blog where she made homophobic remarks, mocked former Florida Governor Charlie Crist's sexuality, and suggested that gay men were predatory. These posts resurfaced in 2018, just as her career at MSNBC was skyrocketing. Rather than taking full responsibility, Reid initially claimed that hackers had manipulated her blog to insert offensive content. I don't know if you remember that story or not, but yeah, she tried to claim it was the hackers. This is even after other people tried to claim it was, quote, the hackers, and it was obvious it was never any hackers going onto blogs trying to put out embarrassing comments that are socially inappropriate. However, no evidence of hacking was ever found, and independent investigations contradicted her claims. As even more posts surfaced, Reid stopped claiming she was hacked, but still refused to admit she had written the remarks. Instead, she gave a vague apology, saying she didn't believe she wrote them, but understood why people were skeptical. No ability to take responsibility. We all do things, especially in the view of many years past that you could look back and say, okay, well, that thing that I did in the past was probably not a good idea, especially not in light of how people's sensibilities are right now. You have to take responsibility, just own it and move on. Otherwise, it haunts you like a ghost, as she's starting to figure out right about now. The controversy left a lasting stain on her credibility, especially among LGBT viewers who once saw her as an ally. You know how they say ally like communist friend, even if you're not a communist, whatever that is? Many felt she dodged accountability rather than using the moment as an opportunity for genuine growth. Reid's critics, including conservative commentator Megyn Kelly, repeatedly called out her hypocrisy. They pointed out that she built her brand on calling out prejudice while failing to reckon with her own past bigotry. Despite these issues, Reid was promoted to MSNBC's primetime lineup in 2020, replacing Chris Matthews. However, lingering doubts about her integrity never fully disappeared, leading to growing discontent among audiences. Now, as MSNBC restructures its lineup, Reid is out, and fellow anchor Alex Wagner is being demoted to contributor status. Contributors show up on multiple shows, they give their advice, they're a familiar face, but they don't have the gravitas, the power, the intelligence, the charm to hold their own time slot. The network has claimed they're reportedly preparing to merge with other NBCU cable properties as part of a corporate shakeup, although I'm getting more and more skeptical of that as I see this purge going on, because it actually has nothing to do with that kind of business transaction. But it does have a lot to do with purging out the troublemakers, which aside from all of these anchors also included the president of the network, another social justice warrior thrown out of the business. Joy Reid's departure is being framed as part of a broader strategic move, but many believe her past controversies played a role. MSNBC has remained silent on whether the blog scandal was a factor in their decision. Reid's downfall is a cautionary tale about the dangers of failing to take responsibility. Instead of owning up to past mistakes, she tried to deflect, which only worsened the backlash over time. MSNBC is now trying to rebrand itself as it prepares for another Trump presidency, possibly seeking voices with more credibility. Reid's history of inflammatory rhetoric and unresolved scandals may have made her a liability. Her exit also raises questions about MSNBC's future as it struggles to maintain ratings and credibility in a shifting media landscape. The network has already faced declining viewership, and this shakeup may be an attempt to correct course. Many argue that if a conservative host had a similar scandal, they would have been fired years ago. Regardless of the reasoning behind her exit, Joy Reid leaves behind a complicated legacy, one of bold political commentary, but also one marred by controversy, denial, and a failure to fully own up to her past, as well as really a never-ending stream of really hateful comments. Very divisive stuff. Very anti-social material. I can't imagine they're going to have other people on the network repeating those kinds of messages anymore. It's one thing to be Rachel Maddow and come up with your stories and take this liberal point of view and fake the Russia hoax and do all those things that Rachel Maddow does in an entertaining way. It's another thing to just go and single out a race, say hateful things, and then have other people on your show to agree with you to continue to say more hateful things. And if you were one of the people that worked on Joy Reid's show, you don't have a job right now. And I'm sure this extends to the other people whose shows are also getting canceled. From the New York Post, MSNBC chief tells blindsided staffers Joy Reid's show is canceled. They're going to be laid off, but they can apply for other jobs. I mean, why wouldn't they be able to apply for other jobs? They're not like banned from the network. It's just that Joy Reid apparently is getting her show canceled, and she is going to be banned from the network. She's not going to come back as a commentator or anything like that, according to the president. Maybe her staffers should be banned, but no, of course they're not going to be banned. MSNBC's president suggested Sunday that blindsided staffers of liberal host Joy Reid's canceled show can apply for other jobs within the progressive network. The revelation from MSNBC president Rebecca Cutler came during a contentious viral meeting with Reid Out staff, in which the network chief also said they scrapped the program as just a piece of a broader slate of changes that will be unveiled Monday, according to Status, which obtained the audio of the meeting. And they have published that. They've shown a new lineup. And that's a great way to tell people, look, don't question what we're doing. We don't want to have to tell you exactly why we're getting rid of this person and canceling the show. And we don't need to, because we're your bosses. We hire you, we fire you, and we're going to let you apply for another job. Don't question us. That may not be very kindly, but it is very corporate. The 30-minute meeting was tension-filled as Reid staffers were annoyed that they first learned through media reports about the end of the show that runs at 7 p.m. on weekdays, and consequentially, they'd be out of a job. It was a, quote, terrible, terrible way to learn about our fate, one staffer told Cutler, the president, who responded she was, quote, incredibly disappointed that it happened this way, according to the outlet. At one point, an employee reportedly confronted the boss and asked, quote, so to make this explicitly clear, we're being terminated currently with the option to apply with the company, right? Which Cutler confirmed. Yeah, it's not like they're throwing you out and accusing you of crimes. They're just saying, we're canceling the nonsensical racist show that you used to work for. And yes, we will let you apply, but maybe we're not going to give you the same chance we would give to someone else. Because I get the impression MSNBC, they just don't want this vibe at the company anymore. Cutler said more than 100 new positions will be posted this week, and she encouraged those staffers who will remain employed through April to apply. She reportedly claimed there would be more employees at the network 6 months from now than present, as she tries to figure out a way to salvage MSNBC's unremarkable ratings. After Reid's exit, the hope is her staffers can continue to produce the 7 p.m. replacement show with rotating hosts until a new show is set. But they have picked the hosts, and it's from a weekend show that they do with 3 panelists who are bad, but they're not as bad as Joy Reid, and they no doubt already have a lot of their own staff in place, although I'm sure they will add people because they're going to increase the frequency of the shows. Also on the call included the president of NBC claiming Donald Trump's presidency did not play a role in the liberal host's ouster and that the decision was based on data analysis and programming strategy. It's unclear if Reid will host one last show before her departure, though the network would like her to have a final farewell. Quote, we're waiting to get a response from Joy and her team about how she would like to handle that, and we want to defer to her on that, according to the president. Which is her way of saying we have no need for Joy Reid. We do not need her on our network. Not in the 7 o'clock spot, not even for one more show. If she wants to come on and say goodbye, she's welcome to do that. That's a total shutdown. And this was really unexpected from the New York Post. MSNBC is killing 3 more shows hosted by lefty anchors, not just Joy Reid. MSNBC's new president continued to shake up the embattled network, canceling shows hosted by left-wing anchors Iman, Katie Fang, and Jonathan Capehart. The overhaul follows the ouster of rabid anti-Trump anchor Joy Reid after reports surfaced Sunday that the Comcast-owned network is canceling her show, The Reid Out. MSNBC is cleaning house. I don't think they're going to become a conservative network. I don't know what they're going to turn into. I would say there's about a 50-50 chance that their spinoff actually doesn't happen and that they're just using that as cover to get rid of their troublemakers, which I've never seen done before. But this is the same company that beat Disney in animation through their Universal unit. They are good business people. They are smart, and they do understand strategy. This may have been the only way they could clear out MSNBC and not have to deal with the blowback. Because so far, there's been no one coming to Joy Reid's defense saying, oh my God, how could you cancel Joy Reid? I haven't heard any of that. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.